Hi Facebook, hi my Facebook peeps, Murielle follows here and broadcasting today instead of Sunday because I'm changing my broadcast. I'm making sure I can see your comments. Changing my broadcast from Sunday morning because it was brought to my attention that some people go to church and sometimes Sunday morning is not the best time for people to show up live. So I'm going to try different days and I'll see what works better. So that's why I'm here tonight, and we'll see what is going on, if people are able to attend live more than when I do it on Sundays. We'll see. So today, Monday morning in Vegas, it's about, I don't know, 5:36. And it's cold here. It's cold. I know some people say that it isn't, but I'm a CC when it comes to lower temperatures, even though I grew up in France. Don't like cold. So today I wanted to talk about something that happens mostly to women, but to men too, and that I think can ruin, it's not that I think, it can ruin your dating life because you can self-sabotage right and left. And to illustrate what I wanted to talk about today, I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a king. And that's a story that came to me actually some time ago while I was starting my coaching. And that king was an amazing king, but like anyone who's a leader, you need a team behind you to help you. So he was guided by his advisors that were standing behind a curtain. And even though his advisors were very skilled, each one in its area of expertise, he didn't always know who was talking to him. And he was just listening and acting. The problem was that sometimes it was creating trouble. For example, one of his advisors was very loving, trusting, believed in the good of people. And in certain cases, he advised the king to send a messenger to the other kingdom with which he was having a relationship to really be loving and at peace. And the messenger came back dead because it was not the right time to be loving and kind. It was time to be strong and to show his strength to the other kingdom. In other cases, he had burned an entire village because the one who advised him was a dragon. And this dragon had only a tiny window because they were behind a curtain, so they didn't have the full view. He had only a tiny window. And from that window, he saw a flame. And for that dragon, the flame meant war. For that dragon, the flame meant another dragon. So as he was talking to the king, he got his agreement to go and defend the kingdom against that invader, that other dragon. But the problem was that it was not another dragon. It was just the villagers carrying torches to see in the dark. And it created so much pain and unnecessary chaos because it was not the right voice to listen to at the moment. The right thing to do for that king would have been to give his dragon the whole picture, let the dragon out, instead of keeping everybody behind the window. And we are that king. All day long, we are listening to voices behind the curtain of our conscious mind. And the problem is that it's not always the right voice for the right situation. Sometimes it's amazing. It is the right voice and you can go ahead and act and the results are fabulous. But sometimes, and if we're talking about dating, especially if you went through difficult and even dysfunctional relationships, you've been through trauma. I actually researched the definition of trauma today, which I forgot downstairs, so I apologize. But what it said was that when you are going through a situation that is so stressful and so damaging that you cannot cope on an emotional level, you have suffered trauma. And when you define it that way, you don't have to be raped, or you don't have to be gone to war, or you don't have to be to have lived through very extreme events to be the victim of a trauma. I think that most of us, with that definition, more or less, we have been living through trauma. And when you're someone who, like me, and my clients, that's why I coach clients who have been through very difficult relationships and dysfunctional ones with people who are not necessarily who they appear to be at the beginning. You carry trauma, and depending on where you are on your healing journey, you will react, you will be triggered. Sometimes you have done a lot of work, so healing is like a spiral. You will go through the same thing at different levels. So it may be that you heal the bottom and the bulk of it, but then again, when you go through a similar situation at a higher level, you're going to be triggered again. And the key is to understand what's going on. So what happens is you are facing a situation that resembles, in a certain aspect, has certain similarities with something that you've lived in the past, a past event that was extremely painful. So what happens at that time? Your brain goes on alert, because our brain is here to maintain us alive. And it associates, I've said it many times here on my YouTube channel, it associates certain clues to a matter of life and death, even when it's not the case. So you go on full alert. The amygdala part of your brain, which is the center for fight and flight, gets activated, sends all kinds of chemicals through your blood, and actually your blood flow is redirected from your frontal cortex into your extremities, because you need to be ready to run or fight. That's a survival matter. So you need to be ready to fight or flight. So you are ready, but you don't think clearly. So you're completely hijacked. And that can happen anytime your brain picks up some clues. It right away associates it with something that happened in the past, because our brain only can function with the references of our past, doesn't know the future. And our subconscious mind is like a database searching on, okay, what does it resemble? Paf, matches it. Sorry, paf was French. It matches it. And there you are in a situation where you cannot think clearly and you completely overreact. Your brain sees the clue, fabricates the rest, and you are swimming in a sea of emotions that are not pleasant, because it's extremely stressful. For me, it takes place in my stomach. Depending on where you usually carry stress in your body, you are under extreme fear and you can't even think clearly. So what do you do at that point? When you know what I just explained and you can have a certain awareness, you can change that. And at the beginning you will react, and you may catch yourself after fact, but with training the awareness comes earlier and earlier and earlier. I used to go through that while raising my kids and being highly triggered with stuff that came from my childhood, where I was catching myself after fact and feeling so bad. Then I was catching myself during, and now I'm able to catch myself before it even starts. And most of the time, it doesn't even start anymore. So the first step to do is to dissociate yourself from your emotions and sit in the observer seat. And that's why when you practice meditation, it's much easier to do that. But the keys and the tools that I give to people go from a tool that I have that I send to my tribe that they can actually carry on their phone. They download it, and when they feel crazy like this, they sit. It takes 8 minutes. They are able to dissociate themselves from the emotion and get the message. Another way to do that is to take a piece of paper and write. Let it out, because as soon as you put your fear on paper, it loses its grip over you. It's not you anymore. You're not that fear, because most of the time we identify with our emotions, which is absolutely untrue. We are way bigger and we're something else. A third way is to do tapping, and tapping is a technique that combines modern psychology with ancient wisdom. It's acupressure on certain points which will intercept the response, the fight and flight response from your amygdala. And if you're interested in that, visit my YouTube channel. It's under my name, Murielle Felous. I have a whole video on introduction to tapping and how to do it. I will also, I think this weekend, I will do a tapping session that relates exactly to this situation, because it's very current in dating to be triggered by echoes of the past that push us to overreacting. And if you don't catch that, you're gonna self-sabotage your love life. You're gonna ruin it. It's gonna be, you might as well stop. So the first key, we said dissociation from your emotion. The second key is to investigate, because what happens is that your subconscious mind feels under danger. So you need to convince your mind that there is no real danger and that it's an illusion, a fabricated reality. So what you can do, you take a piece of paper and you ask yourself if what you think is going to happen is fiction or reality. And for that, you have to be super strict. You have to really consider any concrete proof, not something that you're thinking is going to be, not your interpretation, not concrete. Did you see it or did you not see it? End of the story. Because all the rest is you reacting, and you will fabricate proofs as well. So unless you have something concrete that you can put on paper, for example, if you have been in the past dating people who were manipulative and who were hiding the truth from you, you need to have the proof that this person that you're now in the relationship with is lying. And unless you have a concrete proof, you decide that it's truth. Because otherwise, I'm telling you, you're going to ruin it. So once you do that, and it may happen that it is actually true. Because when you first start to change, when I coach people, and they start, mostly women, because I coach mostly women, but men too, if they have a pattern that attracts dysfunctional relationships because they are dysfunctional themselves, and they didn't completely shift it, they will continue attracting the same kind of relationship in a different costume. So it may be that you again attracted something that's not truthful. And in that case, like I said, proof, and if the proof is there, the lesson in that relationship is for you to say no. Because life wants you to affirm that you no longer want this kind of relationships in your life. That may be the lesson. Now, if you don't have a concrete proof of what you're thinking is going to happen is really happening, that's your imagination. Then drop it. and decide. It's a decision to trust. When we trust people, it's always a decision. And true, it may be difficult at the beginning when you have the kind of past that my clients have and that I had in the past. It may be difficult to really trust, but unless you want to stay alone for the rest of your life, you have to start one day. And there is no guarantee in life anyway. Not in business, not in love, not in anything. So same thing if it applies to a business deal. If you have been scammed, or if you have worked with someone who did not have integrity, and you change and you no longer work with this kind of people, at a certain point you're going to have to trust to do business with someone, yes or no. So once you have either the existence of proof or the absence of proof, you go to the next step. And the next step is to feel safe. And you can do that. First of all, practice self-love, self-compassion for this part of you that is getting triggered, because this part of you is not working against you. Our brain is never working against us. It is just perceiving reality with the wrong filter. So once you can change the filter and you can have your brain working for you, the sky is the limit in what you can accomplish. So the next step is to change that filter. It's to let that dragon out, eat the grass. My dragon is a vegetarian, by the way. I don't know about yours, but mine is. So eat the grass, take the sun, so it's not so angry under the surface and all the time on alert. Let it out and give it the full picture. Use that dragon to warm your house instead of burn a village. Use that dragon to cook your food. Use that dragon to be your pet. Use that part of your brain for you, to serve you. And the way you do that is by self-love and knowing that you have the ability to discern. And even if you don't discern it at the beginning, let's say that worst case scenario, you are dealing with a manipulative person, at a certain point you will discern, and you will always be there for yourself. You're not going to be alone and abandoned anymore because you're there for yourself. So that brings a calming aspect to the situation. The next tool you can use are affirmations. Affirmations. I use them all the time. Our brain learns with repetition and emotion, and affirmations are an amazing tool. And you can even combine affirmations with tapping. Then multiply, exponential power, because you then rewire your brain much faster. So to summarize, it's not the end of the world if you overreact at the beginning of a relationship, or with in love, in business, in any kind of relationship, because you react to echoes of the past. It's just a question of awareness. Now, if you do it 10 times in a row, yes, it is a problem. But now that you know, and you know that it's just a question of brain conditioning like anything else in life, you have the key. The key to create the life with the relationships that you want. Ones that are healthy and fulfilling. But it starts with you, with your relationship with yourself and all the parts of yourself. Because when you start shedding light on your dragons, on your voices under the surface, they can no longer have a grip on you. And they just need your attention. That's all. They're like small kids. So practice. Don't freak out. Don't shame yourself because you overreacted. If you are with a person with whom you can communicate, that person can understand. Because we all have craziness sometimes. And practice. I hope that this will help you. If you want to make sure you don't miss any live streaming, there is a subscription button. I think it's at the bottom on the iPhone and at the top on the Android. If I'm not mistaken, I have iPhones, so I don't know. And if you have questions, comments, you can put them below. Or if you want more privacy, you can ask me your questions by private message or through email. Go on my website, join the tribe and send me an email. My website is ashappyasafrenchwoman.com, and send me an email there. If you want that tool that I mentioned that lasts 8 minutes, it's called Emotion Intervention, and I can send it to you. If you need it, just let me know. I'm here to help. So if you liked it, share it with your friends. If you know someone who could use that because they overreact a lot and they are in fear because they went through difficult relationships in the past, share it. Share it, because it's really a pity to be self-sabotaging your life when there are tools to avoid that. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful week. I will have a wonderful week. I'm gonna run to the gym before it's too late and I don't have the courage anymore. No, there is a yoga class that's fabulous. And I'll see you next time. I'm gonna try for a few weeks to do my live streamings on Monday, and we'll see how it goes. If there is a day that you would prefer, I will go with the majority. Just let me know. I wish you a wonderful week, a wonderful dating life, and magnificent dragon pets. Bye for now.